Come for the game, stay for the commentary.
Ain't nothing but a seat then, baby.
Minion in! Hi there, it's been a while. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Minion. I am at the time of the making of this video, but maybe not by the time it comes out, depending on how long it takes, a partnered preferred content creator for Bless Unleashed on consoles. I'm a day one player, and I've been making guides and content specific to Bless Unleashed for about that long. Part of making that content required me to research Bless Online, and that included analyzing why it failed as hard as it did, and that information is relevant today. As someone in my position who cares about my and the Bless Unleashed community, there's a lot of overlap, I feel responsible to give warning, or at least some words of caution. I was on the inside track of Bless Unleashed for about a half a year. I spent 20-some years being a game developer with real industry experience, having released multiple games internationally and on multiple platforms, and having worked with development studios, publishers, and other professionals in the gaming industry. This experience makes me an authority on the subject. First of all, with PC release around the corner, I want to welcome all the new players to the community. I hope you have an amazing time in Bless Unleashed, as many of us have. But the purpose of this video is to be a warning, so hear me out. Guys, I know you're excited. New MMORPG releases are always exciting, and if there's anything NeoWiz does well, it's creating hype. Let me give you some history on the company. When Bless Online was first published by NeoWiz in 2014, its biggest asset was its hype. The game looked like it was going to be awesome as soon as they got around to finishing it. The community was led to believe that extenuating circumstances resulted in the publication of an unpolished game, but amazing things were just around the corner, so everyone made excuses for its flaws. And the more people invested their time and money in the game, the less they wanted to believe that it might fail, so the excuses just kept growing. But the flaws were never fixed. NeoWiz kept piling more shiny content on top of an unfinished foundation, and the new content was just finished enough to give the impression that it was going to be amazing as soon as it's complete. And Bless Online rode the wave of that hype for about a year, and when that hype began to die down and people realized the game was not going to meet expectations, NeoWiz packed up and moved to a new region where they could hype it up all over again. They did this 4 times, and the last time they did it was for the North America region, and they released it as a buy-to-play model with very expensive Founders Packs. One could argue that they knew the game was going to fail, and the goal here was to capitalize as much as possible before that happened. If that was the case, then they knew that they were shafting players, and they did it anyway for their own profit. Bless Online was an unfinished pile of shinies that promised everything and never fully delivered. And yes, Bless Unleashed is not the same game as Bless Online. I maintain that. That is the truth. Different devs, different code, different engine. But when it comes to publication and management, that's still NeoWiz, and it's still exactly the same. That's why what I just described about Bless Online may sound more than a little familiar to longtime Bless Unleashed players. And when Bless Online failed, NeoWiz stated publicly that they regret the player community didn't share their vision for the game, and that is why it failed. Like it was the player community's fault that their game tanked. In a way, Bless Online was like a swarm of locusts, moving from one field of both the hopeful and gullible to the next, burning bridge after bridge, and never being truly held accountable. When you're the biggest fish in the pond, nobody can tell you how to do stuff. It wasn't a bad game. In fact, a lot of people really enjoyed it. And a big part of what made the game so attractive and so much fun was its potential, the anticipation of feeling that it was going to turn into the most amazing thing. Bless Unleashed has been living and feeding off of the same kind of hype, and when the game has delivered, it was usually because Bandai Namco put their foot down and made it happen. On top of that, update information from NeoWiz was so incredibly unreliable that Bandai Namco stopped passing it on to the community for the most part. The reason you're seeing so much more info about Bless Unleashed PC than console is partly because getting info from NeoWiz has been like pulling teeth, and partly because Bandai Namco got tired of passing along promises that NeoWiz wasn't keeping. Every single published roadmap had to be repeatedly revised and taken down. Every promised new feature or update over the last year was delayed, changed at the last minute, or both. And after a while, Bandai Namco got tired of looking like liars because NeoWiz kept writing checks that Round 8 Studio couldn't cash. Bandai Namco has all the same information that NeoWiz has about PC release and features, because console release will get all of those updates exactly 2 weeks after PC does by the Bandai Namco and NeoWiz agreement. But Namco knows how unreliable that info is, so they won't tell you exactly what's coming until they can be 100% sure that it actually is. Getting back on track here, the North American version of Bless Online was arguably a pretty big scam, and the reason NeoWiz didn't follow that same MO with Bless Unleashed is because Bandai Namco wouldn't let them. That's why you can't buy Starseeds in the Xbox Lumina store, but you can on PC. They're getting as much as they can as quickly as possible, and you can see by clicking on that card over there why that worries me so much. Bandai Namco is enforcing honorable business practices, and I think that's why NeoWiz went ahead and released a PC without them. No more Bamco, no more Watch Dogs. Bandai Namco has respect and appreciation for its player base. NeoWiz, on the other hand, has an almost decade-long history of screwing people. They couldn't do it with Bless Unleashed because Bandai Namco had our backs, but Bandai Namco cannot protect PC players. NeoWiz is the biggest publisher in Korea with a ton of games under its belt since 2007, starting with mostly poker and other card games and then graduating to shooters and puzzlers later, but I was not able to find any online multiplayer games in their roster that had staying power. Bless Mobile is already gone, it didn't even last a year, and I'm 100% sure without Bandai Namco at the helm, Bless Unleashed console would not have lasted as long as it has. After Bless Online, the Bless franchise was dead in the water. NeoWiz was not going to invest its own money into it anymore, so it needed outside help. Bandai Namco bailed them out and is the only reason that Bless Unleashed was even possible and exists today. And NeoWiz thanked them by continuing to be unreliable and making the exact same mistakes that caused them to fail the first time. I've used this analogy before. NeoWiz is a meth head that was given a second chance by Big Brother Bamco, who let NeoWiz live in their house until they got back on their feet. And as soon as NeoWiz didn't like the rules of the house anymore, they gave Bamco the finger and ran off to do more meth. Knowing all this, we have every reason to expect that the PC release will get the maximum amount of hype to make it look as attractive as possible to as many people as possible, and then be mismanaged so badly that it might just kill the entire thing after milking players for as much money as possible as quickly as possible. And if Bandai Namco decides not to bail them out for a second time, then that'll be the end of it on all platforms, and we'll just have to wait for a familiar looking game called Bless Unchained to come out in 2 years, and the cycle continues. I wonder who the publisher is going to be. I'm not saying Bless Unleashed shouldn't release to PC. I'm glad PC players get to join our community. What I'm saying is that the way it's being released is potentially harmful to the community, the game, and its future. We want Bless Unleashed PC to succeed. I want it to succeed desperately, because if it fails, console will no longer be maintainable. If Bandai Namco is listening, please hear my plea. A lot of us really do love this game. If, God forbid, Bless Unleashed PC does a massive belly flop and goes to that big gaming table in the sky, please negotiate the rights for it on console. Take it over and do it right. To be fair, it has to be said Bandai Namco has not been perfect through all this. The official Bless Unleashed Discord is a toxic, unmonitored mess. It has about as much oversight as global chat, which we all know is at times a raging dumpster fire. GMs are basically asleep at the wheel and only show up once in a blue moon to host minor events. Bamco has repeatedly failed to hand out permanent consequences to repeat exploiters, which has created an imbalance on Xbox that it's never fully recovered from. There was an exploit around as far as just about 2.5 months ago that let you clone your Lumina infinitely, so you could buy a bunch of stuff, flood the player market, and turn them into starseeds rapidly, and then power up, or sell those starseeds to other players. And Bandai Namco has not done its part in putting the smackdown on bullies in the game, and that is part of why this community has such a persistent toxic element. Add in those players walking around acting like they're hot shit because they exploited their way to the top without consequence and think that that somehow makes them better, we've got some real asshats. I won't lie, Bamco has made its mistakes and it's had an effect on us, but they aren't the ones sabotaging the game or making design decisions that shaft players in favor of a quick buck. That is 100% NeoWiz's MO, inarguably. They have a long established history of fucking you. I can't speak for Bandai Namco, but if I were in their position, I might be a little regretful of having gotten into bed with a company that doesn't have the player's best interest at heart and has little to no interest in a sustainable game or community. I can't speak for Round 8 either. Being a dev myself, I sincerely believe that the actual development team is passionate about their work and wants it to do well and live for a very long time. But Round 8 is owned by NeoWiz, and NeoWiz calls the shots. Just like it did with Bless Studios. No shade at the actual devs. I don't know enough about your internal relations to know your minds in any of this. But while I've got you, I feel like I should point out that every single issue I've ever had with this game are problems caused at the developer level, be it sloppy coding or design decisions that just make you scratch your head. Nyondyo Jalha Suiso, you guys. I wish you would take more time to polish existing content before you start making more that will also remain unpolished forever. You can't gloss over old unkept promises by making new promises which you then also don't keep indefinitely. Sooner or later that is going to collapse. Now I should say this, NeoWiz is probably just a bunch of regular people with families and hopes and dreams, and they're not some evil company that's out to get your money. Chances are they're good people. That does not change that they have for at least 7 years now been consistently making changes that cause the downfall of their own games at the expense of the players, and seem completely unable to accept that they are the only common denominator in all of these failures. And as long as they can't stop diverting the blame, they won't stop repeating those mistakes. If you look at my channel, you'll see that the number of Bless Unleashed videos has diminished. A lot. For a while there, I was cranking out Bless content every 5 to 8 hours on average, and even when it was slow, I was making more every 1 to 2 days. The main reason you're seeing so much less right now is because I had to take a break. I've got some serious real-life stuff going on, but also it has become increasingly difficult to watch people who actually care about the game continue to struggle and fail against people who are only in it for their own gain and don't give a rat's ass about you. Also, you try making reliable guides for a game that thinks it's still in beta and just willy-nilly restructures its core features to change how everything works, like all the time. That's why Pyreborn quit. That's almost exactly what he said. There was no point in maintaining guides, because the developers kept making them obsolete. And this is another reason why Bless Unleashed should be treated as a fun but risky investment. We had so many excited people making guides and content and streaming, and those resources are abandoning ship rapidly. Pyreborn is gone, BU Unleashed was gone and was taken over by someone else, so that's back. Thank you for that, by the way. But there's very little left, and we don't know how long that will last. The number of people actively dedicated to promoting the game and the community is decreasing at an alarming rate. There are only 3 preferred content creators left out of like the 12 that we had when I joined up. The bottom line here is that Bandai Namco did their best to keep Bless Unleashed from failing since Xbox launch. They have been sticking up for the player community and keeping bad design decisions in check. Did you know that when Ancient Weapons came out and everybody was really upset because smugglers had 2 of the items you needed to progress, you couldn't get them anywhere else, and everybody was at each other's throats and it was just a toxic nightmare? Bandai Namco lobbied for us to have that changed, or it wouldn't have. NeoWiz resisted that decision. They didn't want to make changes to that awful system. When mages got mega nerfed in the spring update and it wasn't even in the patch notes, Bandai Namco tried like hell to make them undo those changes. NeoWiz said no, mages stay nerfed, did not say why. I'm not saying NeoWiz is out to scam you with Bless Unleashed PC. What I am saying is that past events and behavior strongly suggest that that is the case. So if you're going to play, do so with caution, and don't just go throwing all your money at it. You're excited, progression is slow, you want to progress faster, and some of you will have the inclination to just throw money at it to get you up there. But you should know that once you hit endgame, you are on even footing with the people who got there without paying a single dime. It does not give you an advantage. This game is not pay to win. It's pay for convenience. That's it. Currently, it is that way. My advice is play it, enjoy it, have fun, but be cautious. Be prepared for the chance that it might all go away within a year, and don't go pouring a ton of money into it. Spread out your spendings. Show NeoWiz that Bless Unleashed is a long-term earning project, not just a short-term cash grab. Invest wisely. That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad to see all the new faces from the PC crowd, and I sincerely wish that everything goes well for you and you get to play a fun game for a very long time. But in my professional opinion, without Bandai Namco in your corner, I'm sorry, you guys are fucked. Like this shirt in my merch store says, and you guys that are already wearing it, you guys are freaking heroes. I love you. Like the shirt says, Nyonyo Jalha Sui So. I'm probably butchering that, but it means you can do better. And I made it specifically because of these concerns months ago. Be better, be smarter, be freaking heroes. Minion out.